Hey, it's the OC Food Diva. We're back in the test kitchen again for the second recipe from Plat du Jour by Susan Herman Loomis. Today, we're going to be making the ultimate beef stew. It's right here. Let me show you the picture of from the cookbook. It's very neat. So this is beef bourguignon, like a true recipe from France, or French recipe. So I'm going to show you the ingredients, and it's going to take a little bit to make this, but it's going to taste delicious once we're done. So let's go through the ingredients, and then we'll get the marinade started for the meat, and then we'll be off cooking. Here's a closer look at the cookbook. And let's take you through the stuff. So we've got some red wine. This is from Lyonnaise Cellars. Not quite Burgundy wine, but that's the closest I've got in my wine collection. Got olive oil, beef broth. She has a recipe for beef stock if you want to take the time to make it. I already made fish stock, so I'm taking this shortcut here. Let's see, we've got flour, butter, bay leaves, bacon, parsley, onion. These are the hatch sweet onions, which are available during the summer before hatch pepper season starts. Garlic, pearl onion, black pepper, carrots. We've got beef, mushrooms, and thyme. Here's the first step. We're going to marinate our meat. So we've got our stew meat here. We're going to add our red wine. We've got our thyme, 2 bay leaves, and some pepper. Okay, so I'm going to cover, or kind of mix it around and then cover it. And you can either leave it on the counter or at room temperature for 2 hours, or you can refrigerate it overnight and let it marinate that way. But we're just going to go ahead and do the counter at room temperature. Get that in there. Our meat has marinated for 2 hours, so I'm going to go ahead and take it out because we need to reserve. The marinade is actually going to go into the stew. So just want to kind of drain off the beef. Get these guys out too. While we're at it. And then we need to pat dry. Okay, we're going to heat up our cast iron Dutch oven. Medium heat. Olive oil. And it's hot, so we're ready to add the onions. And now we're going to add our garlic. Cook that for 3 to 5 minutes. So we need some salt and some pepper. Okay, so I turned off the heat, and I'm going to go ahead and remove the onions and the garlic. So we're going to add it back in later. As you can see, it left all the brown yummies on the bottom of the pot, which will come out and help flavor the stew when we add in the marinade and the stock. We're going to add more olive oil. And our meat. I'm going to do some pepper, salt, meat. So now we're going to dust it with a little bit of flour as we turn. So our beef is now coated with the flour. We've got a thick kind of roux forming from the beef fat and the olive oil and the flour. So now we're going to add in the marinade, which had all the wine and herbs and stuff in. Got that in there, and then I'm going to scrape the bottom to get all those brown bits off. Deglazing the pan, as they say. I'm going to add our beef stock, or beef broth. And we're going to add back in our onions and garlic that we cooked earlier. We're going to bring to a boil. Our stew is at a boil. We're going to lower it so that it simmers. And then we're going to cover. And we're going to place it in the oven for 2 hours. The recipe does not have a degrees on the recipe anywhere. We read it a few times and could not find how hot the oven should be. So I went online and basically found between 300 and 325 is the optimum temperature for beef bourguignon. So I just set my oven for 300. We're going to place it in the oven. It's going to stay in there for 2 hours. Okay, the stew's been in here for 2 hours in the oven. I'm going to open it up. We're going to add our carrots. Just going to stir it up and push it into the stew. And then we're going to cover this up and put it back in the oven for another half an hour. Okay, while the stew's in the oven still, we're going to start on the garnish part. We got our skillet on medium heat. We're going to saute some bacon. Our bacon is getting golden brown. Sometimes you can tell too is when the oil starts to get foamy. Now we're going to add our mushrooms. going to season the mushrooms with a little bit of pepper, salt, and we're going to remove them just like we did with the bacon. Okay. Now we're going to add the pearl onions. Our onions are done. We're going to remove them. So now we're going to stir in all of the ingredients into the stew. So we've got our bacon. Our mushrooms and our pearl onion. Okay, so it's almost done, so it just needs to go back in the oven for 10 more minutes. The reveal. Doesn't that look delicious? Give it a stir. So look at that. I'll give you some close-up views of it too, but oh, and it has a nice gravy to it. So our family will eat this Hawaiian style, which means on top of sticky rice. But in the cookbook, Susan says you can serve it with boiled potatoes or roasted turnips. Those would be an awesome side for these too. But yeah, we're gonna let this cool and let the flavors intermingle overnight, and then we'll warm it up again and put it on top of rice and have an awesome lunch. I hope you enjoyed this look at the ultimate beef stew, beef bourguignon, from Plat du Jour, French Dinners Made Easy by Susan Herman Loomis. Don't forget to get this book wherever you get your books, Amazon.com, etc. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. We'll see you next time. Mahalo!